go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the play. And then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the play. And then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the play. And then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the play. Niggas don't know what to think. Thought I get money, you change. What you thought we was the same? Still stay away from them clones. Niggas better leave me alone. Talking about niggas is low. Run with niggas who don't know you. Whoa, I made that zagging when city to city. You niggas not hot in your state. If it was money to get a hit Henny, we get it and never complain. Same go for the gang. And we split it up all the same. I can't really eat, let's stay straight. Cause we go way back in the day. My day ones from back in the day. They still hang around me today. You wanna come round us, you can't. I'm rolling up loud, it's great. But mama, she bad but complain. Cause I'm too in love with my dreams. And I gotta get on the plane and go get this money with them. I draw up the plate. And then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate. And then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate. And then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate. And then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang.
I get the bag with the gang. Taking that Zach to the bank. Henny be all in my drink. You niggas is stupid, you think that should change? You not even hot in your gang. Ain't nothing even hot about your gang. You niggas be lying about same. Be posting them pictures of guns for the fame. Niggas just look at me different now. Say that's your man, but he a clown. Don't fuck around with the fuck arounds. Little nigga, you should cut it out. Me and my niggas take different routes. Punch a bitch nigga all in his mouth. Hold up my nigga, we different now. I need a raw, this is my style. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I get a bitch today, she probably a foreign model. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I'm with my gang today, tomorrow never promise.
OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang.
Attention, please. Please do not smoke in the terminal building. Smoking is only permitted in the specified smoking areas.
Zach.
Thank you.
OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Niggas don't know what to think. Thought I get money, you change. What you thought we was the same? Still stay away from them clones. Niggas better leave me alone. Talking about niggas is low. Run with niggas who don't know you. Whoa, I made that zagging when city to city. You niggas not hot in your state. If it was money to get a hit Henny, we get it and never complain. Same go for the gang. And we split it up all the same. I can't really eat, let's stay straight. Cause we go way back in the day. My day ones from back in the day. They still hang around me today. You wanna come round us, you can't.
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. I've got the look that drives the girls while I got the moves that really move them. I send chills up and down their spines. I'm just a sexy boy. Are y'all ready to go tonight? I am on my Brick City Cory Booker bullshit. I cannot be stopped. I cannot be contained. And tonight I am not fucking around.
Make them shiver.
Their knees get weak whenever I'm around. They see me walk, they hear me talk. I make them feel like their God ain't real. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. That might flip though.
Hands off the merchandise. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Late Night Counter Apologetics. I am your host with the most from the East Coast, and as always, folks, I am in airplane mode. Let's get it going, folks. We got a great show lined up for you, and boy, am I in the mood. You know, I made the mistake of fucking around trying to talk to Lupin earlier, and folks, I just decided some people we just got to cut off. Some people, the truth is, they're ignorant, weaponized pieces of shit. And you can't win them all. You know, it's a real serious lesson I've learned in teaching. You have students that are cheaters. You have students that are stupid. You have students that can't get their shit together. And at the end of the day, you have students that are just trying to get over on people, and they're not really there to learn a goddamn thing. And the best thing you could do for yourself is stop wasting your time. So we're going to get into some shit, man. I got a real special one lined up for you. There's been a very interesting story about the JWs in Norway. We're going to get into that. And before we do that, we are going to talk about my main man, Cory Booker, shitting all over the grand old party. So appreciate y'all. Thanks for the love, chat. Let's go ahead and start our show. As always, we're going to start with our communion. God damn it, where are my bells at? You know, got to shoot videos, all sorts of shit going on today. Where are my bells at? Bells. Oh, there we go. Done. Ready. Look at that. Easy. Easy peasy. All right, gang, y'all know the drill. Please raise your glasses and hold on to your asses. Through him, with him, in the unity of the flying man. All glory and honor is yours who fled for our sins forever and ever. You may drink. All right, folks, and let's go ahead and get into our communion song. This one comes to us from Foy Vance. It is Where Everybody Knows Your Name.
Dublin, and he's going to play us out. Foy, you're going to play what to finish us up?
Do you know what? I don't know the name of this song, actually, but I know the song, and so will you.
Oh, I look forward to this. Foy Vance, take it away.
Carrie Ann was first. Thanks, Carrie
Making
Ann.
your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you
Cameron
like
Bennett
to
is
get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
And Wayne is third.
And they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Well, all those nights when you got no lights and the check is in the mail, and your little angel on the cotard by its tail. Your third fiancé didn't show. Well, sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
All right, I got Carrie Ann and Cameron and Wayne,
And you're always
Crystal
glad they came.
and Melody Joy.
You wanna
Lena's
be
in the
where you
house.
can see troubles are all the same. You wanna
Good
go
to see you all.
where everybody knows your name. Well, you get out of bed and the coffee's dead. The morning isn't looking bright. You shrink right off to Europe and he doesn't even write. Your girlfriend says she's not a girl.
Yeah.
Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
I appreciate you. Yeah, Chris, that's a good question.
Coming in by text, Foy, is Goosebumps.
So mostly our streams that are scheduled are Monday, and all times are Eastern time zone. I live in the East Coast. Eastern time. I don't live in the East Coast, but I live in the Eastern time zone. So Monday and Wednesday, usually around 1 p.m., I stream Science Time with Cliff, one of my colleagues. Saturday night, we stream late night. That usually should be around 10 or 11, but it ends up moving. We'll try to be better about late night counter apologetics, so it's not too late. And then Sunday, we have a scheduled stream at 1 p.m. Eastern. That is the Blackout with Uncle Bobby. And then 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday is Hot Program with my one black friend. All right, gang, let's go ahead and get into it. For those that don't know, Cory Booker is one of my mentors. I've known him since I was 11 or 12 years old. Had a lot of great times with him. Remember him, when I first met him, I always say, I know Cory Booker with hair. He was just elected the Central Ward Councilman in Newark, New Jersey. We spent about an hour together, fast friends, talking about soda and all sorts of weird stuff. He was just the upstart politician, spending time with the kid because my dad helped him get in with some of the good people in New Jersey that he ended up being some people he worked with. So I don't know. He's been one of my mentors ever since. Took a liking to each other. Worked on his first mayoral campaign when he unfortunately lost. Was on his second mayoral campaign when he won. Gone door to door with him. Done 4 or 5 internships for him. Worked in the prosecutor's office, worked in a law department. He's written me letters, thrown me a thrown me a party for my internship and brought me some nice gifts. He's always just treated me really well. Anytime he's in Jersey and he runs into my dad, he'll take a photo and send it to me. He sent me a picture when he ran to my uncle. But we stay in touch and support each other a great deal, and definitely feel like a big part of his journey to this point. Honestly, I was like the first intern. I was like one of his first interns, pretty much. I was with him on his transition team, really small office, so we know each other's families. I know his sister-in-law and his brother, and I knew both of his parents. He knows my grandparents and both my parents. So, always treat him like family. Family that's far away in Washington, D.C., doing senatorial things. But I take a lot of pride in those really historic moments where, as a sort of law and politics nerd, you feel like you're part of the journey. And there are times, even in disappointment, where you feel a great sense of pride. So one of those was like when Donald Trump, both times actually, when he was impeached, right, in the House, but then the Senate failed to convict him. But, every time that happens, the Senate has to vote, right? And so there are all these times, where he voted, and I remember watching it on C-SPAN, and when he registered his vote in favor of conviction, it was like good. The senator from the state of New Jersey today voted the right way in a historic moment. And happy to know him, happy to be part of him getting there, so that there wasn't some Trump-looking fuckface voting instead. And then, of course, things like with Ketanji Brown Jackson, he had a moment with her where he interviewed her, brought a great sense of honor and dignity to the moment, especially given the rough treatment she got, again, from the GOP. But yeah, he's known, kind of got the peaceful warrior vibe. People get really into Cory. He's a great speaker, obviously. But yeah, someone I work closely with. I just lay my cards out on the table. I don't pretend to be unbiased when it comes to Cory Booker. But look, got some big airtime right here, doing my favorite thing, clowning on these Republicans. Let's hear from the great senator from the state of New Jersey.
And joining the conversation, Democratic Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. Senator, another mass shooting to report on, teachers shot in another part of the country. What can be done?
Well, we know what can be done. You all have talked about it before. There are common sense gun safety things that we could do in this country that the majority of Americans agree on. Things like universal background checks, gun safety.
Talk about the acoustics of a building not made for TV. Yeah, that rotunda is great when you want to stand over the balcony and yell at the hundreds of fucking, I don't know, what are they called? Lobbyists or whatever below. But when you're trying to do a goddamn television interview, it's just like being in a damn echo chamber. Epic reverb.
Blocks. There are things that we all agree on. The problem we have in America is that we have a major political party that is not willing to do the common sense things that would make us safer and are content being complicit in a status quo that makes us as a nation way out of the loop when it comes to the other industrial nations in the world that don't have this regular routine horror, that don't have a reality that has their children having more active shooter drills than fire drills. They don't have a reality where Americans.
All right, got to talk about the active shooter drills. It's a part of the everyday reality. I don't know how many of you have to do that sort of thing as a regular part of your work. Certainly, one of the things I don't miss about the COVID era, maybe there's a little bit less of that going on now, but certainly during normal times, it was a real tough day at the office when you have to go to class or go to school and you have to sit there in a big lecture hall with some cop whose unfortunate specialty it is to respond to these type of events, training you about what to do if there's an active shooter. If you suspect there's going to be an active shooter in your classroom, or God forbid there be an active shooter in the building or nearby on campus, and you sit there and you look up and you're looking up at the lecture hall and you're okay, I'm trained in science, okay, probably a bunch of scientists in here, maybe some criminal justice majors in here, got a bunch of psychologists. You're sitting around wondering who went to grad school, who signed up for their teaching assignment, and feels like part of what you've been trained to do in your graduate program is respond to somebody trying to shoot your students. It's a really, really, really fucking scary day. There's no games about it. There's no jokes. This is a very real thing you're required to do. And you have to sit there and think about what would you do and how do you keep your students safe, and how do you barricade the room? What's the safety protocol? What are the signs to look for if someone's showing? I mean, and this is just stuff that should not be a part of any of our jobs, and you realize that very clearly. So, what do we love more? Because I have to tell you, as an educator, no part of my training is about responding to active shooters. Neither should it be. And it used to be a thing because, it was school shootings, and it was, unfortunately, school shootings around universities. But now you feel almost silly talking about this because, everybody's like, well, it's the restaurants and it's the bars and it's the grocery stores and it's the nightclubs and it's the parades, right? The fucking parades. It's the country music concerts. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I don't like guns that much. And at some point, I really don't care.
Now, kiss a family member, going to a concert, going to church, going to a classroom.
Have I toured the state capitol building in Lansing? Yes, I have been in the state capitol building in Lansing. Some of you guys know I used to talk about a female friend of mine that I used to hang out with, kind of date for my church, actually. She worked for one of our legislators in Lansing. Yeah. Actually, I'll just say a big deal legislator on the other side. I'll put it to you like that. But had a lot of fun. Gave me great, wonderful tours of the Capitol and the staff places and the big chambers and all of that. And met some really nice people. It was quite a nice time. Yeah. So I did have the privilege of doing that, and I love those type of tours, those type of buildings. It's very beautiful. It really is. Great sense of history there, and really a shame some of the things that have gone on there. But that's the seed of democracy, and we'll take the good, the bad, and the ugly along with the beautiful.
In their mind, this horror and this worry. This is not a matter of can we do something about it. It's a matter that our leadership right now is lacking the will.
So let's talk about the lack of will. We showed a poll that was very consistent with every poll I've seen over the past decade regarding universal background checks for every gun purchase. Post Sandy Hook, that number shot up to about 9 out of 10 Americans. This latest Quinnipiac poll shows 89% of Americans support background checks for all gun buyers. Only 8% oppose, and only 11% of Republicans oppose it. So my question is, Senator, how in the world can 8% of Americans hold all of Congress in Washington, D.C. hostage politically?
Well, again, I think it's this paper tiger, this belief that right-wing advocacy groups like the NRA and the money that they have somehow is a formidable political bloc that makes folks unable to do what is right for the safety of their country. One of the number one reasons, if you turn to our founders, that this nation was formed was for the common defense. And now we have more people in America, in my short lifetime, that have died due to gun violence than in every single one of our wars, from the Civil War and the Revolutionary War to the wars in the Middle East combined. This is a dereliction of duty. This is a surrender to violence. This is not doing your constitutional duty to protect this nation from threats, foreign and domestic.
President Biden is calling on lawmakers to pass two.
Aw, isn't he handsome? Some of the happiest times of my life. Always have great memories of Cory. I'm that weirdo that'll blow by the bodyguards and hug the mayor, and you just gotta deal with it. That's how I roll, son. But seriously, it really made me think of something in this country that's so ironic. Is we have this quote unquote, I don't know why we call it populist movement, right? Because it's clearly about supporting the most unpopular ideas. So it just speaks to the semantic infiltration, I guess we were calling it. There's a great video about that. And that's really what it's an example of: gaslighting, using your own words against you, projection, all of these terms of this sort of typically abusive rhetoric. And in this case, it's like an abusive ideation, to tell yourself that you're a populist movement, to look yourself in the mirror and say that you're for the people, and then go out there and never actually represent the interest of the people. And the thing that kind of struck me earlier today was, I don't think it's ironic, or merely ironic, and I don't think it's a coincidence, and I don't think it's an accident that we talk about how the church, if you look throughout history, they're on the wrong side of every issue, right? Literally, you grow up in this religion and you think God is good, religion is great, these are my people, these are the people that are going to look out for me, God's on our side, Jesus is love. all this fucking nonsense. And then you're like, well, why are we fighting this dumbass war on drugs? Oh, all these religious morons. Oh, what? Why are they shooting up the LGBT nightclubs? Oh, all of these religious morons. That's cool. Why can't we raise the minimum wage? Turns out it's all the conservative religious morons. Interesting. Who keeps saying that racism isn't a problem, but critical race theory is? Interesting. The conservative religious. Cool. Who's coming to get our reproductive rights? Oh, the conservative religious folks. Who won't give up their guns even if it's to protect our children? The conservative fuckfaces. And so you realize that, like, how long are we gonna ignore this? Like, how long are we gonna? What are you gonna pretend like you're just misunderstood over here, and you don't understand that the Earth is older than 6,000 years, and you don't accept that we evolved from common ancestors with the rest of the tree of life, and you won't take the fucking vaccine, and you won't social distance, and you won't wear a mask. That's great. That's great. Is there why not just hang a pro-COVID flag out on the just wave a COVID-19 flag as you walk down the street? I'm here for the flu, for me and for you. I mean, seriously, is it a coincidence, y'all? But here's the thing that hit me when Cory was talking just now. Like, think about what we're looking at with the numbers. The funny thing is we keep giving such a disproportionate amount of political influence to this vocal minority that clearly, like, who cares, right? Like, who cares? They're clearly just on the wrong side of everything. So we just at some point have to be like, look, y'all are typically on the wrong side of everything. So we're just going to keep the wheels of progress turning and drag you along like we always do. And the funny thing is, if we actually did that, if we actually would just have the audacity to look them motherfuckers straight in the face and be like, we know you're liars. We know you're not trying to help. We know you're obstructionist. And we know you don't care about the truth. So we're going to do what we got to do, and you go ahead and do you. Bye, Felicia. The irony is we would find probably a historic populist movement that would honestly maybe get America sniffing the dirty drawers of something like the type of progressive way of life we've come accustomed to understanding that most Europeans enjoy, and we just shit out of luck. Okay? Maybe we'd hit that shit with some good old American vigor and ingenuity and decide how to take a step or two forward. America to shit out that bitch. Because most of the progressive shit we really want, I got news for your conservatives. I got news for your Christians. I got news for you. Everybody else wants too. You enjoy being scared that when you get sick, you're going to be sick and broke? Sure, okay, I'm a nerd. I went to school forever. I spent 3 eternities in grad school, got me a little student loan debt, and you all smarter than that, making your little money, not such a sucker, but don't you want your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids to maybe get themselves an education up in this bitch and not be paying for that motherfucker when they retire? Were you really upset about the idea of sitting home and being paid when not doing so is fucking dangerous? Did that really, really upset you? Did you really miss work that much? Come on, y'all. The shit we want is the shit everybody else wants. Why are we still pretending otherwise? It's crazy. It's crazy. If we would actually have the audacity to look other motherfuckers in the face, call them out, like, we're not trying, nope, all that reaching across the aisle, nope, that's dead. Y'all, nope, we tried that. You're not trying. Sorry, we're not gonna fake it anymore. Y'all, we would actually find bipartisan support. We can make America purple as a bitch. We won't even try, though. Scared of what everybody wants because of what some billionaire bullies who nobody fucking deals with anyway. Y'all know any tobacco executives? Y'all, how many billionaires you know? Be honest. I know some of y'all like, I know, you know a billion. Yeah, that's one person in your life. How many of y'all know more than 5 billionaires? Exactly. Nobody. Who cares?
Gun safety bills, including banning the
Tax
type of
the
gun
rich.
used in the Monterey Park attack. California Senator Dianne Feinstein and Connecticut Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy introduced the bills, which would ban the manufacture and sale of military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, as well as raise the age to purchase assault weapons from 18 to 21. If you really need them. Biden's statement
I don't even know.
reads in
Honestly,
part,
y'all, I gotta be honest with you. I'm with a full assault weapons ban. I just don't understand why anybody needs one. I'm over it. If there's a special exception for blah 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 blah, that's fine. Like we'll figure that out later. But in the meantime, nope. Sorry. Just sorry. And again, look, some of y'all gotta think about this. Context, right? Stop being stupid. Let's not be stupid. We could sit here and talk about what should philosophically be our liberties and freedoms. I don't care. You have to look around you, see what's going on in the world, and adjust accordingly. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, that means a lot of the things that we might not ideally want to do, we in fact are going to need to do because that's what the situation at hand demands of us.
I urge both chambers of Congress to act quickly and deliver this assault weapons ban to my desk. The majority of American people
only
agree
place you
with
should be
this
able to handle one of them is in
action.
fucking
There can be
Call of
no
Duty.
greater responsibility than to do all we can to ensure the safety of our children, our communities, and our nation. And Senator, will this get any support from Republicans?
And again, Senator, this is not an extreme position. If you look at every poll, this is where the majority of Americans are.
Yeah, Joe, I look at you. Yesterday, you said it so plainly. You grew up in a gun culture. You're comfortable around guns. One of my best memories as a child was my grandfather, the first time I touched a gun, taking me out hunting. This has nothing to do with that. No one, as you said yesterday, is coming to take your gun. What we're simply saying is that there are weapons of mass destruction, of war, that do not belong on our streets, where you could kill large amounts of people in seconds. And again, the American public...
And remember, we've literally fought imaginary fucking wars against weapons of mass destruction. We have turned the world upside fucking down looking for weapons of mass destruction, whether they were really there or not. But we literally won't just say no. I'm on some Nancy Reagan shit, y'all. Just say no. Just say no to the weapons of mass destruction. That look, y'all, we talked about the beautiful Capitol here in Lansing. You know, what a travesty that they plotted to kidnap our governor. And they plotted to kidnap our governor in a place where they protest and they bring these assault rifles to the Capitol. They bring them to the Capitol. And they call that protest, but they're clearly intimidating, trying to overwhelm the security force, intimidate everybody. And you see the sergeant at arms and all of the police and the security forces, literally they just kowtow to it. Why? Because they're terrorized. And they know that just the slightest bit of offsetting or upsetting of the very delicate social balance with some people who are usually very, very unstable, and this could go south quickly. And we're just okay with that. And again, you gotta think like, to me, like me, like I'm sure Senator Booker would feel like our halls of democracy are no place for that type of item to be with you. It's a disgrace because it violates what democracy is all about, which is settling our differences civilly. So this is what I mean. It's no longer about. That's not about defending yourself. That's not about protesting. That's none of that. It's about using that weapon as a means to intimidate and demonstrate that, it's very scary. And I also have to be honest with you, when you live in a state like Michigan with the reputation it has for radicalization and different militia groups and stuff like that, I know sometimes people talk about that like it's a badge of honor. Like Michigan's one of them well-regulated states and the government better watch itself around here. But I got to be honest with you, it's absolutely terrifying. And I got to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you like this. I'm going to put it to you just like this, y'all. I'm going to tell you how real it is. I'm going to tell you how real it is. Y'all know I'm a black man in America. I've had my run-ins with the law, and I think there's literally nothing more terrifying to a motherfucker like me than the motherfucking police. They are the last call at all times. They are the number one thing I'm afraid of in this world because of crazy shit that they tend to do to people like me. But I find them militia type of motherfuckers so scary that literally when they on they shit, I'm literally like just, hopeful that, law enforcement would help me because I definitely don't trust these militia types to be looking out for people like me. That's for fucking sure. So that's how scary they are. They're so scary, they make me hope the cops are around. And it takes a whole lot for me to feel like I'm gonna need some police presence up in this bitch to feel safe right now. Okay, so that should tell you something.
We know this. The last elections kind of showed this. We are a moderate nation. We understand compromise. We don't want these extremes. And these are extreme weapons that have no place on our streets or in our community. And so, again, this is a political obstacle, which is actually should give some folk hope. Because there are groups in America that are amassing in terms of their political power, understanding that we are not helpless in this. Groups like Moms Demand Action are now showing greater numbers than the NRA, greater organizing capacity. And these great organizations need to become more of a national movement to save ourselves. So this is the realm of politics. And for those folks who are frustrated, get more frustrated. But let that frustration motivate you to get more engaged and more involved, because there are people to blame for these mass shootings, but this is time that we all have to take responsibility for ultimately stopping them.
Senator, last hour we talked to Congressman Ruben Gallego, and we were talking about the possibility of raising the debt ceiling and talking about how the Republicans keep talking about how they want to put these spending limits across the board. but they will never show their hand. They will never tell you what they want to cut. Of course, you hear from some that they think Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid need to be slashed, but they'll never give you their plan. I want to play you what Chuck Schumer had to say about this, that if Republicans really want to slash spending, show us what you want to slash. Watch this.
House Republicans, you voted for rules that require regular order for bringing bills to the floor. So put your proposals for debt ceiling on the floor, let the entirety of the House debate it and vote on it, and let the American people see and assess these cuts for themselves. Americans deserve to know what kind of cuts Republicans want to make and why they think it is worth forcing an unnecessary crisis that will hurt most American families.
I've spent my adult life being a deficit hawk. I talk about the debt all the time. I've talked about it for 25 years, and I agree. We need to trim the debt, but don't we also need to see how they want to do it, their priorities? Because their priorities may be out of whack with where, my God, 75% of Americans are. How important is it that we see their plan before votes are taken to slash the budget?
Yeah, you know, this goes back to me learning in high school, playing poker with my buddies. If you're going to sit at the table, put up or shut up. In this case, govern or get out of the way.
Shut up.
Don't screw around with the American economy. Don't threaten the average American. What they're doing by not showing their plan, by not being a responsible party willing to govern, what they're instead doing is not obstructionist. This is destructionist, because there are a lot of families out there that will suffer. They'll suffer because their home values will go down. Moody's could say that this kind of move could destroy $15 trillion of home wealth. It can make people's mortgages go up, make people's retirement accounts go down. What they are doing is not obstructionist, it's destructive. So you want a seat at the table. You now are in charge of the House of Representatives. Put up or shut up, govern or get out of the way, because this problem that you are talking about and trying to put at the feet of Democrats and risk things that Americans earned, like their Social Security that they've been paying into all their lives. This problem amassed when you were voting to raise the debt limit time and time again under Donald Trump, where 1/4 of our debt amassed because you gave massive tax breaks to people making over $400,000 a year, blowing massive holes because you did that without paying for it. So put up or shut up, govern or get out of the way. Don't threaten average Americans' home value and retirement savings because of your recklessness.
Nice, nice. Nice, nice, nice. So, I realized this when I was talking to Lupin earlier, like, somehow we've lost sight of this thing in our society where people don't realize that talk is cheap anymore. People don't realize that this sort of, I'll take out the personal attacks, the trash talking, that's fun. But like, what do you have besides that? What do you have besides, no, I don't agree? What do you have besides beating on your chest and triggering the libs, and what do you have? There's people shitting all over atheists. That's cool. Great, cool. Yeah, imagine us believing those fantasies. I mean, it's just really, and it reminded me. You wanna know it's hard? I'll be honest with you. Staying in fucking school is hard. Learning is hard. Growing is hard. Being a real leader is hard. I like that type of shit. Like knocking on doors. Actually, I've one thing I'm so honored to have done with Cory is literally walk door to door and be standing right next to him, knocking on people's door. Yeah, I'm gonna have to convince you to vote for me for mayor right now. It's not a fucking joke.
to run a city and do it so well. We're like, yeah, we're gonna need you to help the state and the nation right now. It's not easy to become a doctor or a lawyer or a PhD candidate or whatever it is that people do. I had the privilege of meeting my students this week. You know, I teach a remote class. It's asynchronous and virtual, so we don't get to see our students, you know, every class period. It's cool. I really like it because it offers them, you know, the type of flexibility they need. But it was really great to meet them, and their stories are amazing, like just incredible young people. They're so ambitious. You know, some of them are in high school, taking pretty much like a full semester's worth of college classes, trying to get, you know, a head start while they still playing, you know, a sport or two, or, you know, they're doing national dance competitions or trying to qualify for the international robotics competitions and shit. These kids are off the chain, man. You know, and they're working. You know, a bunch of them have children. Some of them are adults, you know, going back to school after, you know, not, you know, taking a college class for over a decade. You know, like, they're really about that life. And you start reflecting, having conversations about some of these trolls on the internet, and you realize just how fucking phony they are. They're all frauds. Like, all these apologists we deal with, like, they're all frauds. And at some point, y'all, you got to really look at them straight, and you got to realize they don't, like, that's their thing. And I hate to say it, but a lot of it is a sunk cost fallacy. And so I hate to say it, they recognize that they lost. What do you do? I guess you got so much of your ass hanging on the losing side, you can't admit you lost. You can't change your mind, can't admit you're wrong. But it really put it in perspective. Like, that shit is so easy. And they have no intention to ever step up. None. They're just like these fucking Trumplicans. They're in it for the lulz. They're in it for the trolling. They're in it to trigger the other side. They're in it to rub your nose in it. But, okay. What now? And that's when you realize they ain't got shit else. Invested your whole life in lies. Invested your whole life in lies. And now, of course, they ain't got shit better to do than attack the truth. All right, y'all, so look. It's a story coming out of Norway. Really warms my heart. Makes me believe in this thing we call humanity, and even this thing we call civilization. Like, we might be able to give a little nod of respect to a motherfucking government up in this piece. But look, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they got themselves in some shit in Norway. All the way in some shit. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. And y'all, just imagine if we could get us a system like this in America and start holding some of these fucked up ass churches accountable for all their corrupt bullshit. Y'all, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. If we could just get behind the things that everybody wants to do for everybody, we could start maybe even leading the way on some of this, and we could have some of this. We could have a good life. Why can't we have nice things, y'all?
Imagine if the government said one particular religion could no longer receive any benefits. They wouldn't get any tax credits. They couldn't perform marriages. What if all those perks just disappeared?
Y'all, tell me what happened with Dillahunty and the Stewart guy. I don't know. I heard he was, I saw he was was that like a modern day debate thing? Or was that something else? Let me know what y'all talking about.
Hard to comprehend, and yet that is exactly what just happened to the Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway. The Norwegian government recently rescinded the religious community status of the Jehovah's Witnesses. While that move won't ban members of the religion from gathering or practicing their faith, it will prevent them from receiving taxpayer-funded subsidies,
That's right,
which is a thing in Norway, and performing legal marriages. It's long overdue, and it comes a year after the government warned leaders of the Jehovah's Witnesses there that they were heading down this path and temporarily cut off their funding. So why is this happening, and what does it mean? Norway, which has a national church but no longer has a national religion, is one of those countries where religion is literally supported by taxpayers. The more members you have, the more money your preferred religious or humanist organization receives. Any religious group with 50 registered members is allowed to apply for state subsidies. And in 2021, which is the most recent data I could find, 724 groups received that kind of funding. The law is very open regarding the kinds of religious or non-religious groups that can receive that money. However, there are some lines in the sand. If your religious group commits violence, threatens people, violates children's rights, or anything like that, then the government may not give you money. You have to respect the freedom of religion and basic rights already enshrined in the country's laws. To me, all that makes perfect sense. A group that endorses violence shouldn't get taxpayer money, nor should any group hurting kids or violating human rights. Sure, there are atheists who might argue that any form of religious indoctrination is child abuse, or that the Catholic Church, to name one institution, has hurt kids. But these rules are theoretically limited to things that are irrefutable and doctrinal and not up for debate, and not the result of a few bad eggs.
All right, but look, though. The Bible literally says, train up a child in the way that they shall go. Now, I'm going to just call a spade on that, right, y'all? Like, I just think that, again, for some reason, Christianity gets a little bit of that lighthearted treatment, a little bit of them cultural passes. It just gets like, it's just so in us, so we always want to argue for like a field. And I'm like, what are you talking about? If the problem's supposed to be doctrinal, Christianity puts indoctrinated children like right up in there. It also puts exclusion in there, like when it's all about, you know, don't take up the ways of the other people, don't go into their homes and all of this other stuff. So it really, you know, I think it has these doctrinal problems in it. Matter of fact, the more and more I think about it, like, I feel like that's the problem. I don't know. It's hard for me to fight the idea that most people who remain in these type of religious traditions do so because of a severely flawed character at some level. And I think at some level the religion becomes an excuse to remain that way. And I don't really believe that there's any real hope for growth there. I think all of those things are very superficial. You know, like, so for instance, you might talk to a Christian and they're all about, well, I've been struggling to, you know, learn how I could get deeper into my walk with God and, you know, give more of myself to the Lord. And again, they'll just be more turned over to the hateful, abusive bullshit of their faith. Now, whether that's incidental or whatever, I mean, at some point, people are just too big not to have noticed. And I think that's a real problem.
Or in the Catholic Church's case, a giant barrel of bad eggs. And here's the kicker. Groups that receive these subsidies cannot force people to remain members. They cannot ban interactions with non-members. They cannot make children pledge a lifelong commitment to them. Practicing faith is fine in the Norwegian government's view, but cult-like behavior will not be rewarded. And no, they say, not all religions are inherently cultish. All of this seems like rules you really shouldn't need because it seems obvious. And yet, the Jehovah's Witnesses just got dinged for violating them. Here's where the witnesses stand in Norway. According to the government's Ministry of Children and Family Affairs, in 2021, there were 12,686 registered Jehovah's Witnesses in the country. That number meant taxpayers were on the hook to give the witnesses more than 16 million Norwegian kroner, which is now over 1.5 million US dollars. Don't quote me on the currency stuff, those numbers fluctuate.
I like this music.
My point is, it's a lot of money. That year, however, 2021, the Norwegian government said it would begin looking into the witnesses after 2 former members and a separate anonymous whistleblower sent letters to them explaining that the witnesses were in violation of the
I don't
rules.
think your connection's
Part
good.
of me wondered why the letters were
awesome,
necessary, since it's not like the witnesses' beliefs are secrets. But I think government officials just needed to act deliberately and did not want to be accused of running some sort of witch hunt, so they wanted all the paperwork before they took any kind of action. Those letters got the ball rolling. It gave the government permission, in a way, to start investigating the group. Some of those claims against the Jehovah's Witnesses were admittedly open for debate. For example, does their policy against voting violate the rules? The witnesses say members cannot get involved in politics, which is why if you know any Jehovah's Witnesses, you probably know they never vote in elections. One of those letter writers in Norway argued that since voting in an election could lead to expulsion by the witnesses, which meant members could not interact with you, the no voting rule qualified as a violation of the law. The witnesses responded by saying they had every right to set their own policies, and if members wanted to vote, they were allowed to do so, as long as they accepted the consequences.
Yeah, this is what I mean, kind of wish Spartan was here. So Spartan Theology was in one of Lupin's chats with us, and Spartan Theology was disagreeing with Lupin about, the need to be anti-queer as a Christian. And as much as obviously it's preferable that people don't think you're all types of fucked up for being queer, it's just not honest about what the Bible says. I have to admit that when I really reflect on my personal growth, the way I believe about people now, my opinion of people now is that I should have left Christianity when I realized how anti-LGBT it was. And I know I was in some kind of fog because I personally wasn't. But I look back at it as clearly being part of a group that practices hatred of particular groups. And it bothers me. And now my thing is that I'm trying to tell people, and I guess I'm just bringing it up to say that I'm serious when I say this, but I think that alone, that issue of this group tells you that, these people should be put to death. All right, cool. Nope. That's it. We're out. I'm done. You know, like that should be enough reason for you to like not tell me Jesus is Lord ever. And the problem is maybe I'm I don't think so, y'all, but like I don't see it any other way. And I'm being like, I hate to say it, I'm being all types of a biblical literalist on this one. You're just not going to tell me there's any other type of way to interpret Christianity. Like, nope. Nope. It's the same shit with slavery. Does Christianity endorse slavery? Yeah, well, I don't think it really does. Nigga, you lying. It has an instruction manual for slavery. An instruction manual. Right? That's what it's called, right? Y'all, what is it called if you hop in a vehicle, you're like, I don't know. What the fuck is this? I don't even know this make and model. And I'm like, here you go. And it tells you how to do everything. It's like, yeah, hit this, don't hit that, do that, don't do that. Yeah, if you need service, go to these people, don't go to these people. Make sure you change your tires, right? It literally tells you how to operate the vehicle. What do you call that? A motherfucking instruction manual. That's what the Bible has about slavery. Where am I going with this? It's the same shit where, like, you know, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they're like, oh yeah, well, we're allowed to tell people not to vote. That's just our rules. What do you mean? What's the wrong? I don't see. What's the problem? Well, see, I know by law you're not allowed to, you know, tell people they can't vote and they have a right to vote. But look, it's our rule. It just says in our rules you can't vote. What's the problem? That's how Lupin and most Christians will treat this shit. So I don't know what type of circly getting your game all twisted that the liberal types want to do. But what do you do about that? Because they're just gonna keep going. Look, it says it right there in our holy book. And you're like, well, yeah, that is our holy book. I mean, yes, I do worship that God. I mean, yes, he is perfect and almighty and his mercy endureth forever. And he is the most perfect intelligence to ever have intelligence. But then you're going to say that we got to stop that. We got to be like, yo, I don't care what your book says. I do not care. I don't care. So you're going to have to show me something other than the Bible. Oh, you can't? Well, guess you're shit out of luck. It's not Bible time. It's not Bible time. It's not Bible study time, Bible reflection time, Bible devotional time, Bible interpretation time. None of that. None of that. That's fantasy games. That's a game for Christians to go play on their own time. Nope. No more. We're not doing that. I'm tired. I'm tired of it.
There's nothing coercive about that. That's what I mean by debatable.
My temper's gonna be violent this year.
Saying members can't vote isn't necessarily a violation of Norwegian law, even if the consequences of voting might be. But there were other concerns that the government took very seriously.
Yeah, of course.
In fact, according to a written statement from the state administrator in Oslo and Viken, there were 2 Jehovah's Witness beliefs that were particularly egregious as far as the law went. The first was the practice of disfellowshipping. Basically, if you're a witness who leaves the religion, you're effectively excommunicated. Members are told not to have any interaction with you, even if you're a family member. The idea here is that the former members will get so lonely or depressed that they'll eventually come crawling back. It is a cruel policy. There is no shortage of families that have been torn apart.
Crystal said, I'm still mad. I have to know this book better than they do. It is frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Very sad video.
Because it's not even a good book.
They announced it right away.
Not even a good book.
Disfellowship from the
I honestly hate to say it, but I wish it was some fucking better, like, crazy fictitious shit, y'all, right? With like some knights and some fucking dragons, and if the Whore of Babylon, that was like some really like erotic type fiction, right? Because even the erotic fiction in the Bible is not good, right? Like we're like, yo, wait, somebody's typing. Who's typing? Oh, my bad. Yeah, mute.
My mic was off.
You're good. You're good. Even the erotic shit in the Bible, y'all, right? Like, it's not like a good romance novel that you get at the grocery store. It's like horse and donkey shit and weird animal references, and the imagery is all fucked up, right? Like it's weird. And then like the parables are not really that good, like Joseph and the Technicolor Code and the prodigal son and the like, y'all, the most salacious, like pretty good thing they do up in there is like the woman at the well. Come on, y'all. When the woman at the well is like top 5 chapters in this 8-pound book, like that's a problem. And then I gotta know it better than the people that believe it. Imagine that, y'all. Imagine like you're not a fan of wizards, but you have to know Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings better than fucking either of the motherfuckers in the Harry Potter and Lord of the Ring fan club. That's what I feel like. And it's not okay. It's not okay. And yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to my psychiatrist about it, because ain't shit you ain't gonna do nothing about it. It's just the reality of the situation. They want me to, and literally every time we try to have a conversation, they just go right back to the fucking, like they never, like how many times you had to tell these people?
And people should avoid, in front of the whole congregation, that people should avoid contact with me. And
the most painful thing I think you can do to another human being is to isolate them and cut them off. That's why solitary confinement, is such an issue in the prisons and stuff.
The state administrator wrote that Norwegian law requires all religions that receive government subsidies to practice a right to free withdrawal. If there's a serious obstacle to leaving a religion, that's arguably a violation. Disfellowshipping, the administrator wrote, can cause members to feel pressured to remain in the faith community. The second potential violation.
All right, gang. Now, look, before we jump into number 2, let's talk about number 1, disfellowshipping. This is, when I get this camera set up, I got to make my videos about Christianity superpowers. All right? Because one of them is soft culting. And this is a perfect example of soft culting, where we set the bar for what cultish shit is. And usually we set that bar, if you ask me, arbitrarily high. Why do we do that? To be honest with you, y'all, we do it so that we can exclude religions like Christianity. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. There's no other reason that we do this shit. We just do it on purpose. Because, like, imagine if you did this shit for child abuse. Right? Like, if you were like, well, I didn't disown my child formally. I just fucking left him out on the corner and didn't feed him. I mean, but I didn't put it in paper anywhere that I was disowning them. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? I mean, yeah. So I put my kid in a cage. So I mean, had their own room. What's the problem? What's the problem? Right? Like, we would never fall for that, right? But that's what we do with religions. We let them do an okie doke. And so with Christianity, they just soft cult everything. So rather than, so here's where the Jehovah's Witnesses are wrong. Somebody wrote that shit down. And because somebody wrote that shit down, there's a paper trail. It's like Donald Trump. Like, they're like, literally, they would have been happy to let Donald Trump get away with fucking everything if he didn't leave the most ridiculous paper trail ever. And that's all the Jehovah's Witnesses did wrong, was they said that shit out loud. Yeah, you're supposed to cut off your family members if they leave the church, right? Oh, okay, just being clear about that. Nigga, I saw you talk, right? And they call people out. Hey, I heard you about to leave. Yeah. So-and-so's excommunicated. Don't never let me catch you around that motherfucker. Okay? That's what they do. Right? Christianity is just the unspoken thing. Right? Everybody it's just the eyes of incredible disappointment the size, the awkward. You know, it's like they terrify you, but they don't come out and say it. So what I find to be interesting is I really do feel like, though, the funny thing is it's like, I don't even think we would need to take it that far, though. I think if we just had some regulations like this on the books, the fact that we had them on the books and the threat of losing some funding, I think, will go a long way in reducing that type of pressure. Because I don't know, it would change the tone around people leaving. You wouldn't be able to, make people feel. Of course, I mean, if you don't have it in the official policy, but again, if people kept complaining, right? If it was a thing where people were routinely filing complaints, like, oh, I left the church and my family wouldn't talk to me anymore, and blah blah blah, it would eventually become a thing where people are like, no, I'm pretty sure this is excommunicating. I'm pretty sure this is disfellowshipping or whatever. That's what so many of the people in this community are dealing with, right? That's what's so hard for so many people about leaving Christianity. So clearly they're doing something, right? People clearly don't feel free to just leave the faith on their own. So that's what I mean about soft culting being a superpower, because it's so obvious to anybody who looks at the situation that people don't feel free to just leave Christianity. But because it's, because I guess they didn't write that down somewhere. Even though to me, it's in the scripture, right? It's funny, if you're going to say it's doctrinal, it's pretty doctrinal, right? They, hate your mother and father and your family and all of that type of shit. And like I said, not associating with people who aren't, of the faith and all of this shit. It's all in there. It's all in there. We just ignore it.
Concerned how Jehovah's Witnesses treated children. If a child in a JW family makes it a habit to break the moral standards of the Bible and does not repent, the witnesses teach, they are also to be treated as pariahs. That means a young teenager, whether or not he or she is baptized, who quits the religion is also subject to exclusion from religious members. Now, unlike disfellowshipping, their immediate families do not have to kick them out of the house. But the state administrator pointed out how the witnesses believe that rebellious children can no longer, quote, have contact with other close family, including grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins, or friends. That puts pressure on the child to remain in the fold, a violation of their own rights under Norwegian law. As the official said, we consider social isolation as a form of punishment against the child. So, because of these two systematic and intentional offenses, neither of which could be denied by the witnesses themselves since these are their rules, the administrator concluded that the witnesses were not deserving of the subsidies. They were still allowed to practice their faith. They just would not get any taxpayer money for it. They basically Jehovah'd themselves out of $1.5 million a year. The witnesses said at the time that they planned to appeal the decision. Their argument was that they did respect religious freedom, but within their faith, they also had the right to set their own rules.
Right. And this is the type of shit that Christians do to us. And y'all, I honestly, I'm ragging on Lupin because, he's somebody that came to us with the whole good faith, blah, 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 want to, hang and learn you guys. And we realized at the end of the day, it's all just a fucking hate scam so he could be on his weaponized Hovind shit. But the motherfuckers literally, and look, but here's the thing, they all do this to us, y'all. I hate the sin, not the sinner. Are you fucking serious? So they'll sit there and say, well, my Bible tells me I have to love my enemies. and I love everyone. And I love you. Yeah, it just says that for a man to lie with man is an abomination, and surely they both shall be put to death. So I love you, but my Bible says surely you shall be put to death. So I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to help you. Yeah, me telling you, me reminding you that surely you shall be put to death. Yes, that's because I'm trying to save you, because I love you. And we let people say that shit. No. I got news for you, buddy. Please say that shit to me online. Please say that shit to me on the internet. It really severely reduces my temptation to catch a charge. It really does. It's really safer for everybody if you say that shit to me on the internet. Because if you say that shit to me in person, I'm gonna need all types of cognitive behavioral therapy. I might have to go to my book. Wait, I'm gonna have to get my book. I need a coping strategy right now. Right now. I'm about to go to jail tonight. Oh my goodness.
If you don't like them, that's on you. That's no different, they argued, from any other religion, so why come after us? Now, for what it's worth, those appeals went nowhere because their beliefs are different from other religious groups. Evangelical Christians and Catholics and Mormons will exert a lot of social pressure to keep you in the fold. But if you leave, there is no formal policy that church members cannot have any interaction with you. Chair. There's no formal policy in place designed to make you suffer for leaving. You might have arguments with family members, and you might struggle with the loss of a community with shared beliefs, at least for a while. But those churches are not mandated by their God to make your life worse.
I don't think I buy that. I love this guy. I think he's cool. But I don't think I buy that. I think it's I don't know. This video is like there's two streams to me here. There's what the religion says, like, in their, I don't know, church bylaws or whatever. Maybe there's three things. Maybe there's like the church, quote unquote, as the formal organization. So what it says in its canon or bylaws or statement of faith and all of this shit, which a lot of that shit's real fucked up, right? Because a lot of them will say shit like marriages between a man and a woman and all this type of shit. But if you go to outside of that, you have what its doctrines are based on its holy books. What the fuck does all these religions are based on sacred texts. What does the fucking text tell it? And then you also have what the religion actually does and how it's practiced. But I think we can kind of play slippery and loose if we don't pay attention to all of them. Because we could say, yeah, there's nothing in the church bylaws that says they had to excommunicate your family. But I'm not comfortable saying that about the scripture. And if most churches' bylaws say we believe in the unerrant word of God as the head of our lives and the head of this church and the scripture, Bible, then I think you're gonna have to take that pretty seriously. And then again, let's not be so quick to dismiss, you may suffer from loss of family and loss of friends and loss of religious communication, the breakdown of your relationship. The nigga, that sound like social isolation to me. Again, but that's soft culting, right? If it's soft, if it's not immediate cut off from everybody right now, right? If it's not the hard, right? Like we make the bar for cult way higher than I think it needs to be or should be.
Jehovah's Witnesses are. And because of that, the logic went, the Jehovah's Witnesses had no right to be rewarded by their government for their beliefs. And that move infuriated them. For a group of people who want nothing to do with the government, they were incredibly upset over not receiving a government handout. But if nothing else, the move by the Norwegian government would hopefully spur other religious groups to take a fresh look at their own.
Yeah, another thing I'm not with y'all. I want to tax these churches, right? Because I feel like I don't know. Like, why should a church not tax an organization that makes a lot of money? Like, they're basically membership clubs, right? Like, I don't know, if we started like a motorcycle club or something, right? Like, don't all these organizations that collect dues and bring in money have to like register that shit and pay taxes? Like, I don't know, it's weird. But even if we set that aside, which I don't know how we do, especially because I just think about all that we could do with that money. And I'm not going to be paying it because I ain't getting no more money in my goddamn churches, so I don't have a problem with it. But what if we really at least took seriously suspending that nonprofit status for the ones that explicitly violated the prohibitions against like political campaigning?
Policies. If they wanted access to taxpayer money, they needed to play by the rules. So that brings us to the latest update from December. Those temporary sanctions against the Jehovah's Witnesses were just made permanent. The state administrator in Oslo and Viken recently revoked the group's official religious community status, depriving them of those taxpayer funds and the ability to bless marriages that are accepted by the government. It is a far more serious sanction than the one the witnesses received last year. The statement said the witnesses violated their members' right to freedom of expression and freedom of religion. They violated children's rights too. In a more formal response, the official explained how the government had taken several steps to give the witnesses a chance to remedy these problems, but there was never any indication the witnesses were going to change their policies. There is still an opportunity to appeal the decision, but again, it's not clear on what grounds the Jehovah's Witnesses have a case. These really are their beliefs. These are their policies. Unless they're willing to change the rules of their faith, and good luck with that, an appeal won't go anywhere. Ever since this threat was first issued, conservatives in Norway have been making all kinds of slippery slope arguments against this move, suggesting the government was just going after religions they didn't like, as if the JW funding decision would lead to future funding bans on religious groups that oppose, say, LGBTQ rights. Government officials quickly rejected that stance and reiterated that beliefs themselves were irrelevant. It was the undeniable actions of the witnesses that mattered, and that's why they were not going to receive the subsidies. It's not like Catholics or evangelicals were being targeted here. That did not stop the JW governing body, their highest council, from acting like this move was unconstitutional in their latest update to members. Part of why I'm fascinated by this story is because the United States never holds religious groups accountable when they break the rules.
And I mean,
they never lose their federal benefits. For example, the IRS technically prohibits churches from telling members how to vote under a rule called the Johnson Amendment. If they break those rules, they could lose their nonprofit status, which would be a death blow for many of them. But because the IRS pretty much ignores those violations for a whole host of reasons and hasn't revoked any church's nonprofit status, even when the evidence to do so is overwhelming, we've seen plenty of conservative Christian churches have their cake and eat it too. They get to function like an arm of the Republican Party, which is apparently what they want, while receiving all the benefits of a non-profit group. Yep. Unless the government enforces its own rules, those rules are worthless. In Norway, however, with this decision, The government is making it clear that religious institutions are not above the law. They're not going to get a free pass just because they happen to be religious. The Jehovah's Witnesses deserved to lose their funding, and now it's gone. And the same thing will happen to any other religious groups acting in the same awful ways. It's about damn time a religious group that broke rules while receiving benefits for agreeing to those same rules face some kind of punishment. One of the other aspects of this story that I love is that these Norwegian religious subsidies themselves have led to some fascinating and unintentional effects. Mostly because citizens are now wise to the fact that their money is going to these groups based on membership numbers. And they have a say in whether or not they want to prop up churches for which they no longer hold any special allegiance. For example, in 2016, the nation's evangelical Lutheran Church launched a website to make it easier to track members and enroll new ones.
A lot of times law starts with the case
after thousands of people used the website to opt out of church membership altogether, depriving the church of some government funding. Considering that roughly 75% of the country were officially members, though, the exodus wasn't all that shocking. I mean, they realistically could only go lower. There was also a mini scandal in 2015 when the Catholic Church owed the Norwegian government more than $5 million for fraudulently registering thousands of people on its membership lists, precisely because they got taxpayer money for that act of manipulation. No wonder that after the church created an app for its members, more than 11,000 Norwegians resigned shortly thereafter because it became simple to remove themselves from the membership rolls. Those were not symbolic acts. The reason people actively went through the motions of getting off those membership rolls was because they didn't want the government giving those institutions money in their name. There are plenty of people there, as in the United States, who just keep a Catholic or Lutheran label because their families raised them in those traditions. Or they simply don't care enough to go through the formal process of changing it. But those subsidies have pushed some people to formally declare themselves not Catholic or not Lutheran. It just shows you how many religious institutions in Norway have financially benefited from the apathy of many of their own lapsed members. For now, though, the Jehovah's Witnesses won't be receiving any federal benefits. And it's their own damn fault for making cruelty and manipulation core to their faith. By the way, as I was preparing this video, the Jehovah's Witnesses published a brief notice on their official website saying a Norwegian court had issued a temporary injunction to stop the government from taking away our registration as a religious community. Basically, they're saying this isn't final. We may appeal the decision. Until they've exhausted every option, they're saying, they should still have the right to solemnize marriages. And that's fine. I mean, I don't care if they have that right until this is finalized. But if they think they're going to be able to get away with breaking the rules, I think they're wrong.
Yeah, so gang, let me know what you guys think. I think it's a really interesting story. I really feel like, again, Christianity does so many of the same damaging things here, but they kind of pussyfoot away around the isolation thing. Again, it's kind of a soft culting deal. And then you have the deal with the political violations. I definitely think they do that. I mean, that is one thing right there where they do it on these huge broadcasts. They do it it gets national media coverage and nobody cares. They'll just be up there. If you're a Democrat, then you can get the hell up out of my church. You're not welcome here on Sunday morning. I mean, I'm like, are you serious? Did he just say that from the pulpit? Okay, cool. But then what if there was this other benefit where sort of inflated roles rose to the surface. How many people are Christians in name only, registered at a church in name only? How many people are registered to more than one church? Right? Churches always give us, we've got this many thousands of members, that many thousands of members. But what if there was actually a tax credit associated with your membership explicitly or whatever, so that you had to be like registered, right? So it's weird. It's like they get this benefit and then you get some accountability with that benefit. I don't think I like that system though, because you have to give them money. Like, I don't want to give churches money. I'd be horrified at the idea of our government actually giving them money. But I wish we could do something like that to hold them accountable for their membership ranks in some other way. I don't know. I don't like them getting tax breaks either. I just think we should just treat them like normal organizations. I don't even think they should be treated like nonprofits, because I think they make a lot of profit. I don't think they act like nonprofits. Nonprofits usually have to be nonprofit at their core. Hey, I have a nonprofit. What do you guys do? Oh, we raise money for this. We raise money for that. We give to this cause. We provide this service. We do that. What you do at its core is a nonprofit service. These religions very rarely do the nonprofit things. They break a little something off for the soup kitchen. I don't care. I'd rather just have a soup kitchen. Oh, we did a turkey drive around Thanksgiving. I don't care. I'd rather build another food shelter. And they evangelize on the back end of all of it. So it's all just a high pressure sales tactic. Nobody's going to be thrilled or say we should give a tax break to vacuum salesmen if they show up with brownies to sell you a vacuum. We're just going to say that's clearly a business expense. Those are your business cards. And then you're demanding, or at least requesting, 10% of your members' income off the top. That's crazy. You basically tax your members and then don't pay taxes. And again, most nonprofits have to show that the bulk of their activity is nonprofit activity, or else they get serious shit for that. I just wish something mattered. But I'm not sure that it does, and I'm not sure that it will. I mean, to be honest with you, I find the state of religion in America quite appalling. Maybe I'm interested in this whole Matt Dillahunty thing. Maybe he's found some way to speak to this or something, but where the fuck are we at right now? Religion in this country just means not caring about the truth. It just does. And it means turning a blind eye while expressing allegiance, if not explicitly funding this sort of fascist dictatorship of bigotry. And that's what it is. I don't care anymore. Because they don't fucking care anymore. Why do I have to be nice about it? I don't understand. Why do I have to be nice about it? They're fucking assholes. Why do I have to be nice about it? They're anti everything and everyone that isn't them and believes like they do. And they're wrong. They're wrong about everything. How long are we going to be nice to the people who are wrong about everything? Gang, let's all do a little bit of self-reflection. Do you believe there are stupid people in the world? No equivalent. Yes or no? You got to keep it simple. Yes or no? Do you believe there are stupid people in the world? Me, it's yes. I'm sorry. It's yes. Yes, I really do think there are stupid people in the world. Okay. Now, we're going to take grown people, 25, sliding into 25 road, 20 or older, 25 older. You're wrong about everything. They're going to tell you the earth is 6,000 years old, evolution isn't real, the Big Bang didn't happen, being queer is unnatural, racism isn't a problem, they're not vaccinated. Okay? Now I'm going to ask you a question. Are you willing to look one of those people in the face and tell them that they're stupid? Right? Like, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. And I'm not trying to tell you to be a jerk. What I'm trying to draw attention to is that there's a mismatch between what we see in the world around us and what we believe to really be happening in the world around us and what we're willing to say due to the social pressures of getting along. So because it is considered such a break of social norms, it is so rude, it's so mean, it makes you such an elitist snob to look someone else in the face and say that they're stupid. You have to actually have the people who were wrong about it. And if you're not stupid when you literally don't have an intelligent opinion about any opinion, but we can't say you're stupid. Do you guys see the problem? Right? I'm not trying to say you're an asshole or I'll call you out for that another time. Yeah, really, we should get to a place in society where if we think someone's stupid, we can tell them to their face, yes, I think you're stupid. But there's really good reasons we don't, and I get that. But fuck with me on this. You see the huge gap there. We know there's stupid people, but we're not allowed to say anybody is stupid. All right, now I'm not going to give you too much, but I'll leave you with one more. Do you think there are bad people in the world? You think about your friends, you think about your family, you think about your mentors, your loved ones, right? You know a lot of good people, right? But do you think there are bad people in the world? Again, for me, it's an unequivocal yes. Be nice if there weren't, but I'm no fool. I think there are some bad people, really shady characters in the world. All right, again, so now you have these people, they're on the wrong side of every really important issue pressing our times. Every moral issue, every social issue, every interpersonal issue, matters of history, matters of science. Again, the greatest things we have, the greatest accomplishments we have as humans, they just shit all over. And we all know these people. But can we look them in the face and say, you know what? I think you're a bad person. And I'm not going to keep cooperating with you. I'm not going to keep being nice to you. I'm not going to keep entertaining your bullshit. I'm not going to keep being friendly to you. I'm not going to keep extending the olive branch because I think you're a bad person. So again, we genuinely believe there are bad people out there. We know and genuinely deal with people who are on the wrong side of every issue. But we can't look them in the face and tell them they're the bad people. We can't really, when we really do have bad guys, we can't call them out. It's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. I hate to say this, the most important tool we have as teachers is grades. I wish students learned all the time because they want to. I wish they did their homework because we filled textbooks with information they were just so thirsty to learn. I wish they wrote reflection papers because they just love to sit around and think deep thoughts and really relate to the material. No, we have to squeeze it out of them. And then we have to grade them to hold them accountable. We have to give the good ones good grades because they earned it. And we have to give the bad ones bad grades because they did not. And the real fucked up part is we got to watch out for those cheaters. Because unfortunately, there are always people who will cheat the system. People who do not want to meet the bar, do not want to do the right thing, do not want to put in the work, do not want to solve the problems, but they want the grade anyway. All right, y'all, we're going to try to relax, have some fun. Come link up with the gang and gather. We're going to head to the beach. Let's go to the beach. We should do our overnights at the beach. That way, when we're in the office, we're kind of there moving around. So we'll go hang out at the beach. Come link up at the Tiki Bar. Find Biden's documents. Find Biden's documents. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate all you're watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share. We are close to 666 subscribers. Appreciate you guys so much. There's links in the description if you want to drop a couple ducats in the golden plate. Love you guys so much. In the name of the Father, listen to me. In the name of the Darwin, the Dawkins, and the Christopher Hitchens, science bless you all. Poof!
Why she wanna leave me alone? Saying all I do is wrong. No rights when they been left turns. Playing that she gotta let it burn. Saying that the house not a home. Sunshine cause she heard it all before. Sometimes she don't wanna be alone. Most times she don't want me gone. She don't know I try my all. She don't know I sprung in the sun, but I'm going in the winter, so we good to the fall. Remember how I told you I get it and I win. Now I'm got it, you ain't answer my call. Wonder if I've been moving too strong. Maybe I just been moving too boss. Really hate when the feeling get lost. Nowadays she just dodge my calls. In the game throwing laws like Paul. Young legend Miss John like Wall. And I wish you never met like Carl. Dick game lay it down like law. Made plans but you canceled them all. I was just trying to splurge in the mall. Now I'm home stacking bread till you call. It's time to roll. She tryna slide. We smoking Zah. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll. She tryna ride. We smoking. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl.
Be smoking that side. I'm tryna get high. She said that she not ready for lust. I waste my time. I got demons in my closet. I can't hide. I did all my exes wrong. They wish I died. Damn, I tried. They won't believe me when I say this. Oh my God. What a blessing. Hello, Phoenix. That's my twin.